Has our local housing market shifted? Absolutely. Are both buyers and sellers experiencing positive and negative impacts? Definitely. Today, I want to look past those scare tactics, the headlines that are written to invoke fear and encourage clickbait. I want to truly look at what it means to buy or sell in today's market and what it means to wait out the market. Let's get started. The rise in interest rates happened far more aggressively than anybody projected, and that, coupled with spiking inflation, understandably has given buyers some pause into entering into today's market. High price points, high interest rates, and a looming recession. It's important to keep in mind that a recession does not equal a housing crisis. A recession does not mean plummeting home values. If you look at the last 5 recessions that the US has faced, 3 of them still allowed for home appreciation, on average around 6%. One caused home values to drop between 1 and 2%, and then there's 2008, which is an anomaly. It was the perfect storm of so many circumstances that really plummeted home values. I don't want to get into too much detail today about the differences in today's economy versus 2008. I've already covered that in the video above, but some quick points. Low inventory. Our inventory is significantly lower today than it was in 2008. Simple principles of supply and demand. There's not enough supply to meet the demand. That should stabilize and protect home values. Lending regulations are significantly more strict today than they were in 2008. It's much harder to qualify for a loan today. In 2008, they were handing out loans. They weren't really qualifying people. When the market crashed, they owed the bank significantly more than they had in assets and equity in their houses, forcing foreclosures, short sales, bankruptcies, which all plummeted home values. And lastly, today's homeowners typically enjoy significant equity in their houses. They stayed in their homes at least twice as long as folks did leading up to 2008. And generally, the longer you stay in a house, the more equity or appreciation you've built. They've also enjoyed significant appreciation over the last 2 years. So if those homeowners were to face a financial crisis, perhaps they lost their job, they were no longer able to make their monthly payment, they are likely able to sell their house as a standard sale on the open market, command enough money to pay off their loan, still have some net profit to be able to carry them into the next chapter of their lives. Significant differences between 2008 and where we are today. All of these factors are assumed to protect home values, and in fact, the projection is for home values to continue to appreciate. Looking at the next 5 years, this graph suggests that homeowners can expect to enjoy about $100,000 in equity that they've gained over 5 years for simply owning the house, for simply making their monthly mortgage payments. Now, I'm sure this will vary depending on your price point. It could be lower, it could be higher, but even conservatively, if you were to gain $50,000 in equity over the next 5 years, that's $50,000 that you would not have had you not purchased in today's market. For those folks that are waiting out the market, whether it's for home values to plummet, which we've established is unlikely to happen, or if it's interest rates to drop, which should happen. When we're in the thick of the recession, mortgage rates will drop in order to stimulate the economy and encourage buying and selling. So in the future, you may be able to take advantage of a lower rate, but keep in mind, current homeowners can as well. They're locking in a rate today, which they're unlikely to keep for a 30-year mortgage. Most mortgages are less than 10 years old, meaning that folks are refinancing at some point before they sell and move on to their next house. So folks who buy today are able to lock in a home at today's value, so projected again to be lower than where we'll be in 3 to 5 years, and they'll have the ability to refinance. In the meantime, they're building equity, they're building passive income, so that when it comes time to purchase their next home, they'll have a nest egg of cash that they can put towards the next purchase making them a stronger candidate. If you're waiting out the market, that means that you're renting. And unfortunately, rents are also sky high. It's the same reasoning: low supply, low vacancy, and high demand. So your monthly rent is probably very comparable to what your mortgage would be. The difference is you're not making passive income. You're not building equity by paying your monthly rent. Rents are so high right now that unfortunately 58% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. So even if you have the best intentions of saving money for that down payment, you're likely unable to do so because rents are so high, and they will also continue to likely increase. If both of these folks, the current homeowner and the renter, try to enter into the same market a few years from now, guess who's going to be the stronger candidate? Current homeowner is likely going to have the leg up. They're going to have built equity, which they can put towards their next home. They'll likely have increased their credit score, and they may have refinanced, gotten that monthly payment lower. Perhaps they're able to save a little extra cash on the side versus rents that just continue to go up. Sellers, is it still a good time to sell, or have you already missed your peak? In my opinion, you're still going to command a great price point. You're still going to be able to take advantage of the large appreciation that you've enjoyed over the last 2 years. But yes, you likely will not command the same price point as a house that sold 6 months ago. Because interest rates were lower, buyers had the ability to be more aggressive in their offers. We've started to see some price reductions, and in my opinion, that's not necessarily a reflection of home values dropping. It's a correction in how we've been pricing our listings. We've been in a pattern over the last 2 years of pricing a new listing at where the last one sold. Even if they were identical, even if it came on a day after this one closed, we expected this new listing to get $15,000, $30,000 more than the last listing. We're no longer in that position. So it's important to be mindful of how we're pricing our listings. And we may face some price reductions, but I don't anticipate it to be so significant that it would mean that it's a bad time to sell. Another possible advantage for sellers is that you're more likely to get your offer accepted as a contingent buyer. So if you have to sell your house in order to purchase your next house, you're more likely to get your offer accepted. You're more likely to be a competitive buyer. And because there aren't as many buyers out there, sellers will take your offers more seriously. Only you will truly know whether it's the right time to buy or sell, but I definitely encourage you to explore your options. If you're a buyer, go get pre-approved. It costs you nothing. Take a look at what's on the housing market. Will it be the stepping stone house that gets you into your dream home? If you have any specific questions, you'd like help exploring your options, please feel free to reach out to me at ericamonroe.com.